The wealthy don't manage their money like the rest of us. Their habits look boring, but they build serious wealth. And the best part, you can copy them, even if you're on an average income. Here are 5 things that wealthy people do differently with their money, and the great part is you can start doing this today too. The very first thing that wealthy people do with their money, when they receive it, they pay themselves first. Most people spend and then hope they've got something left over at the end of the month to save. They're not even thinking about investing. And the problem with that approach is that you get to the end of the month and you don't have any money left over and you say, I'll do it next month. Next month rolls around and you find yourself in the same position where you haven't saved any money and you haven't invested any money. On the other hand, wealthy people have flipped the script. The first thing that they do is as soon as money hits their checking account, they've got a particular percentage that they've identified they're going to transfer into savings as well as into the investments or their brokerage accounts. So whether it's $50 or whether it's $5,000, they are automatically setting aside money for their future. So if they are doing this, I think it's important that we consider and we start doing this too, because this is one of the biggest ways in which you can get momentum going in building wealth for you and for your family. Once they've locked that habit in, they take it a step further and they give every dollar that they receive a job or an assignment. So they identify their spending in terms of different buckets or categories, and we're going to talk about that right now. Wealthy people don't micromanage their finances, so they're not tracking every single penny. However, they have buckets or categories out of which they spend. And so a few of these categories could be a category called generosity. So this could be, in my case, as an example, I give 10% to my church. You could say that you give a particular portion to a charity. So this is one of the buckets that they might have. They also look at things like essentials, so their housing, food, and the key things, utilities and things that they need to be paying in order to exist and to survive. In addition to the essentials, they could have another category which could look at fun. And so a fun bucket where they transfer money automatically into this fun bucket where they can spend money without tracking it. We call it a guilt-free fund where money comes into our particular bucket. Brittany's got her bucket or a checking account. I've got a checking account, and we spend money out of those buckets. And we've learned this from rich people. This is fun. You work hard, so you are entitled to having fun. They've also got buckets like an opportunity bucket. And so this could be where they are setting aside funds into a particular savings account so that when an investment opportunity comes along, they've got cash available to actually take advantage of that investment opportunity. So I want you guys to start thinking about buckets and categories. I'm not going to tell you what percentage each bucket needs to be. I'm not going to say you need to have 50% into the essential bucket. You need to identify what works for you. But use this as a basis. Start thinking about your funds or your income in terms of buckets and then spending out of those buckets. There are lots of guidelines online with regards to what you could categorize in different buckets and how much each should be made up of. But you need to find something that works for you and for your family. The great part about having these buckets is you know that you're spending your money on the things that you want to. So whether you are investing, whether you're paying for an essential, or whether you're just going out and having fun, you can spend the money guilt-free because they've got assignments and you are spending the money exactly how you want. Now this is where wealthy people or the 1% do things different. Most people use money to buy things. On the other hand, wealthy people use money to buy freedom. This is possibly one of the biggest differences. Most people actually, as I've mentioned, use money to buy things like clothing and gadgets and things that depreciate in value. In other words, they lose their value. And I'm not saying that wealthy people don't buy these things because, of course, you see them with clothing, you see them with nice gadgets. However, a large portion of their funds, they actually set aside and they use to buy income generating assets. If you're wondering what an income generating asset, it is something that's going to appreciate in value, something that's going to generate income for you on a monthly or regular basis. An example of this might be actually investing into stocks. And so they might be setting aside money into an index fund or into ETFs or buying individual stocks, which in turn will return a dividend, which is the income that they're going to be getting. In addition to that, if they consistently invest, their capital or their base is going to grow as well. So they're growing their base value as well as getting these returns. In addition to that, they are always looking and identifying if there are businesses that they could buy. It could be brick and mortar businesses. In addition to that, it could be online businesses, which in turn will generate income for them. Two other areas that the wealthy people actually look at buying in order to generate income is real estate. And so real estate tends to appreciate in value. So they tend to buy duplexes and single family homes and they rent it out, and in turn the value of the house gets more, the actual value of the house, but in addition to that they're actually earning income as their tenants are paying them on a monthly basis. And so that's one of the areas that I was going to mention. The second area is they buy commodities like gold, because gold tends to hold its value and it tends to appreciate in value. So those are two areas, or a few areas, that the wealthy people, or the top 1%, actually uses their money, and as they invest in these income generating assets, they tend to get wealthier. If you are someone and say, okay, that's great, that's them, but what can I do? You could consider whether or not you could start buying property today, whether it's a duplex and you live in the one side and you have your tenant pay off the mortgage. And so you could be living for free, and as that gets paid off, you could buy another one and then just roll it, and eventually you could find yourself in a position where you own a few properties, which in turn will grow in terms of the capital appreciation as well as earning you regular income on a monthly basis. The other thing that they do is they delay their purchases, and so they don't just spend money. They consider all the facts before they actually go out and buy something. Sometimes they might delay it for a couple of months or even a year so that they can build cash flow, so that when the right opportunity comes along or comes across their path, they would actually be able to do the due diligence and then take advantage of the opportunity. So they're not going to make impulse decisions because this is the greatest opportunity or this is the particular item they should be buying. No, they've got cash flow. They pause, they assess, they do their due diligence, and then they take advantage of the opportunities that it's given to them. So it's not about being cheap, but it's about using money to make more money. Even if you've got the right strategy in place, it will all fall apart if you don't take control of this next thing, and that's your emotions. Managing money is 20% math and 80% mindset. So for most people, when the market drops or we enter a recession, they start to panic and they tend to sell off their stock. Whereas wealthy people remain calm and they know that they can ride the wave for the long term. And again, this depends on their stage of life. If they are in a season where they are in their retirement years, they would probably have rebalanced their portfolio to more of a bond-heavy sort of portfolio as opposed to having an aggressive stock portfolio. But again, they don't panic. They don't allow the market to dictate what they're going to do. They've got their plans, they've mapped it out, and they stay the course with their plans. And so this is a big difference. You got to be able to master the mindset, and you got to know and understand your finances. And so you might say, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a financial advisor, but we live in a day and age where there's a lot of information available where you can actually upskill your knowledge in this particular areas. In addition to that, if you feel you just don't want to go that path, you could have a financial advisor. So again, wealthy people are able to stay the course because they also surround themselves with the right people that they trust to be able to manage their resources. And then finally, it's not just about the accumulation of wealth, but it's about protecting it. The wealthy know to protect their wealth, and they do this in a few different ways. Number one, they've got life insurance. If anything were to happen to the particular individual, they've got a life insurance policy which would then pay out and provide for their family. In addition to that, they've got estate plans and wills in place. And so again, they've clearly earmarked and identified, if anything were to happen to them, who should receive what portion of their estate. And so this is very important because I know a lot of people that don't think about these two particular areas. And then the third area, which I believe they do a great job in, is identifying the best structures or vehicles in which they can leave the income generating assets. So they set up things like trusts. And so they have used the services of tax planners and financial professionals to identify the proper structures to put in place in order to protect their assets so that it can be distributed to their family. Could be to their spouse, could be to their children, but they've got these things in place to ensure that their wealth is protected. They are mindful of not just providing for themselves, but they are legacy minded. They're thinking about the future. They're thinking about providing for their spouse and for their kids, as well as possibly even their grandkids. And so this is a major factor, which I think they do an excellent job. And I believe that we can learn from them. If you don't have a will, I encourage you to draft a will today. There are lots of resources online where you can actually go and draft a will online so that if anything were to happen to you, your family would be protected. You could also go out and take life insurance, and there are different types of insurance. We're not going to touch on that today, but consider what the best insurance is for your family, especially if you've got young kids and you've got a spouse, that if anything were to happen to you, are they going to be taken care of? Start thinking about legacy and start thinking about those that come after you. That's how the wealthy handles their finances. You don't need a massive income to manage your money like the top 1%. All you need to do is copy their habits. And you know what? I've given you their habits. None of it was flashy and they're all doable. So if you commit to these strategies, go back and rewatch the video. If you commit to these, your financial situation will look completely different in a year from now. If you're ready to actually change your finances step by step, I've recorded a full 6-month plan of what you need to do. So click watch now.